This program brought to you by Bunnings Warehouse, where lowest prices are just the beginning. And Harvey Norman, there's a store near you.
Spectacular stuff, still going. Whoa, what about that one? There's no way to stop him. He's straight through. We have just seen magic.
It's the Roosters and the Knights on Fox Sports.
It's a big game for the home side. The Roosters only have one win so far at the football stadium in 2009. This is their lineup to take on the Newcastle Knights. Cecil Wenger comes into the side. Ben Jones goes back to the bench. There's also one change in their forward pack with Lapini Paya taking the place of Frank Paul Nuwasala. Also on the bench is Mark O'Mealy and Nick Cooper-Ritzis. The coach is Brad Fittler. There's a host of changes for the visitors. The Newcastle Knights have Keith Lalia and Cooper Vuna going into their back line with both Adam McDougall and Arko Uwate out of action. Richie Fa'oso and Danny Wicks come off the bench. Mark Tafua and Chris Houston go back onto the bench with George Nadira and Marvin Caruana. The coach is Brian Smith. Steve Lyons and Chris James are our referees here tonight. We'll wait and see if the Roosters can win for just the fourth time this season, or whether it's the Knights. They keep pouring it on at the top of the NRL ladder. Here is a Nasta to get us underway. The kickoff goes down towards Ben Rogers, who takes it at his own goal, and he gives it off to Richie Fa'oso, who runs head first back out into Nate Miles, who stopped him, but he sat the Roosters front row on the seat of his pants in doing so. Good charge from the man who gets a chance here tonight, Fa'oso. They play it now through Junior Sal. They work it to the right-hand side to take it just beyond their own 20. They'll play it there through Hilda. They come back to Danny Wicks, getting a chance to be in the run-on team also tonight. Bit of attention there up around the chin from Jake Friend. And now Mullen kicking down the left-hand side of the field. The ball bounces down to Jordan Tansey, who's grabbed his chance at the fullback slot after getting a crack at it in the Anzac Day loss to the Dragons, and he certainly has cemented that spot for the time being, it would seem. We'll wait and see if, as you suggested in the pre-game show, he gets a chance to play a bit of dummy half tonight for Jake Friend when he comes from the field as Miles works it up towards the halfway line. Friend waits a dummy half. Here's a Nasta going on his left-hand side to give it off to Soliola, who made some jarring tackles. Speaking of jarring, he gets up here very gingerly. In fact, he can't play the ball. Remembering they lost James Orbison, Greg, in the opening minutes against Melbourne with a knee injury, and his season is done. And now Soliola gets up after being twisted here in the tackle.
Yeah, Simpson underneath, Jared Mullen over the top. Let's hope that he's just jarred something. It would be a big blow for the Roosters to lose him so early in the game, because he has been good in the back row.
Stay right up, mate.
No, he's going to replace him now.
He is. Ron Palmer said to the referee, that's the trainer wearing the orange shirt as usual for the Roosters, we're going to take him from the field. Boy, they cannot take a trick as far as knee injuries go at the moment, the Roosters.
16's Richie, isn't it? 40. Well done. Curbs, 16.
First set of 6 in possession.
There's Richie.
And we'll wait and get the early report from Scott Sattler when they take a quick look at that knee, the right knee of Sia Soliola. But it is Nick Cooper-Ritzis getting a much earlier chance than expected here against the Newcastle Knights tonight. A pick up a couple of weeks ago after what was a protracted negotiation with the Bulldogs. They finally got a deal done. They worked out the financial side of it all, and Cooper-Ritzis gets a chance again here tonight. Gidley, good catch off the bomb, and now Junior Sal working it away from dummy half. He's a bullocking pinball style runner. He can bounce off a tackler. Terrific catch, wasn't it, by Gidley, as it goes to Cooper Vuna. Speaking of players who can bounce out of a tackle, he certainly is one of those.
Oh, he's a powerhouse, Cooper Vuna. We saw last year. He takes a mountain of stopping once he gets going, and as we said, they've lost some players, but the players stepping into the breach are certainly more than handy as Hilda takes it forward, looking to pass it on the outside, tackled by Mason over the top. Friend there too.
Here's the Goyce. Going back to Jared Mullen to put it high in the air. Perrott standing underneath it, made a good catch and then spins back, always brings the ball back at 100 miles an hour, doesn't he? And this time he's wrapped up just inside his own 20.
That is one man I'm sure Brian Smith did some homework on. They need to chase him hard. Good run by Willie Mason and a good quick play the ball.
Too quick, according to Steve Lyons. Of course, he spent 10 minutes in the bin on Monday night, Willie Mason, against the Melbourne Storm for repeated infringements as far as the team goes. Well,
What was wrong with that?
He must have been saying that he wasn't tackled.
Well, he hit the ground. He did have some players around him. They might have had arms and legs all over him, but I think that's a tough call. Willie Mason and the Roosters.
Here's the Goyce going to Gidley for the line. He'll reach out. Did he get the ball down? No, he didn't.
What he tackled too.
They're going to check. Boy, if he didn't get it down, he must have gone very close because the line was right there.
Well, I don't know if Kurt Gidley's confident. His teammates are. 3 Roosters there. He gets in between one, gets rid of Sedimata Sarr. Well, I think he's lost that ball.
This angle here might give us a better clue as to whether he was able to hang on to it first off. Well, boy, the ball did come loose from his grip of that right hand for a moment there. Did it hit the turf, though? Above the ground there, off the knee, as it turned out there, of Willie Mason sliding in.
Willie slid in, and I think as the ball went to touch the line, his knees beat the ball touching the line. He's forced it back into the field of play. Whether you want to go with a knock on, but I think he's short. That's no try for mine.
And it should be a knock on.
Knock on, scrum out there, Warning.
And it sounds like Steve Lyons agrees with us, as does the video referee Chris Ward, who was in the video box tonight.
Well, a bit of justice here if it's in fact a knock on and the Roosters feed, because it was going to be a hard done by Roosters try then with the penalty against Willie Mason.
Well, he saved the try and he's done well to keep his side level with the Knights after a few minutes here, because as you said, that was a very, very tough call. It seems the penalty in possession against Willie Mason. They can work it away from inside their own 20 once again here after that close shave. And there's Sedimata Sarr, who will play it here 10 out from his own line. Let's go downstairs to Scotty Sattler for a word on Sia Soliola, Scotty.
Well, we saw the way that he landed awkwardly in that tackle early on in the game. It seems as though first thoughts it's a medial ligament strain. They don't know what extent at the moment, but first thoughts is that he's in a fair bit of pain, to be quite honest, and discomfort. So he definitely won't be back, but how long he'll be off the field for will be interesting.
He looked to be in good shape, did he, the way he was carried off the field by the trainers, as Jake Friend here tries to work it away from dummy half. They'll play it, and they go back to Mitchell Pearce. Puts his right foot on it, going back there. James McManus makes the catch on his own 20. Very good game for Country against City. They're at Orange just 8 nights ago. We'll wait and see if he can keep his form going. Snatch a spot on the wing for New South Wales. Here's a ball coming loose from Cooper Werner, and they say it was stripped out by Mitchell Pearce. Perhaps another break there for the Knights as Sow comes midfield to link up with Ben Rogers. Tries to put a fend there on Cooper Richards, but he takes him down 10 on his own side of halfway. Mullen quickly going to the short side, linking up with Simpson. Cooper Richards again it is who makes the tackle. Rogers. Much more consistent play with the Newcastle Knights in 2009 under the coaching of Brian Smith. He's been a big part of what they've been able to do as Wicks. It's an inside ball and then bounces off the tackle of Jake Friend. Eventually they wrap him up through Fitzgibbon and also Payer. Goes back to Mullen. They'll run it on the last tackle. Gidley stepping off the right foot, looking for a ball out the back. Gets one away. Mullen does well. He can set himself for a kick. In fact, he tried to pass it. It was knocked on by Sean Kenny Dow. What a bonus set of 6 that is for Newcastle.
Absolutely tried to fire a rocket out there. I think the fact that he passed it so hard, that made it hard for Kenny Dow, who read it, but just couldn't take it, and the Knights on the attack.
Here's Hilda. Taking the ground, a good tackle there. They'll play it just outside the 10. It comes to Rogers. He coughs it up, and the Roosters will get it back. 10 out from their own line.
Now you said about Ben Rogers being a more consistent player. That is a mistake that Ben Rogers has had in his game. There's brain explosions in Ben Rogers. It did seem that he had limited those under Brian Smith, but that's a bad drop on the attack. With all that ball, the Knights really should have been able to come up with something.
They had a third set of 6 just metres out from the Roosters line. Instead, it is Perrott playing it for the Roosters as Fitzgibbon takes it up towards the 40. Plenty of talk during the week about where Craig Fitzgibbon will be playing in 2010. Plenty of people will tug your coat and tell you it won't be. For the Roosters, Gidley getting across, does miraculously well to save the ball from going across the line and being a 40-20. Now Vuna goes one way, then comes back the other, and is wrapped up eventually by Wagga.
Oh, brilliant stuff, Kurt Gidley. He knew he had to make a play at it. Mitchell Pearce. It was a great kick, would have been a 40-20, and Gidley was able to stay in the field to play flick at him before he went out.
Nate Miles, good tackle here. Richie Foe, who will play it 15 on his own side of halfway. Mullen, a couple wide of the play the ball this time. Gets a good kick in from inside his own 40. But it is Jordan Tansey, the former Leeds UK Super League player, who brings it back to be stopped here 20 out from his own line. Good kick, big kick from Jaron Mullen.
That was the part of the game that Brian Smith thought they really needed to improve after the Gold Coast Titans last week. Their kicking game was horrible, and there is the coach in the box. He'd be happy with the way they've started so far.
They lobbed 4 on the full out nut last week against the Gold Coast Titans. I think Mullen had a couple. Scott Duro also a couple.
They get fined for that too. There's a fine.
Couple hundred a throw, isn't it?
They get fined.
That could hurt you. Here's Friend from the halfway line through the hands there of Pearce. A little inside ball from Cooper Richards back on the inside there for Anasta. Cooper Richards again from dummy half. Come back for Pearce to chip it towards the corner. They could let it bounce into touch, but instead McManus picks it up. He links up with Gidley. They've done some good things so far from their own end off kick return. Now Gidley a fast play the ball. He was on one leg for a moment there as it comes across to Cooper Vuna. Had a medial ligament strain and also a partial tear of the anterior cruciate in the pre-season. As a result, has had to wait until round 10 to get a chance. Now the Roosters give away a penalty. The Knights will certainly stay on top in that category so far tonight and pick up some good metres as a result of this latest one.
Yeah, disappointing, and then the Roosters' discipline has been a problem all year, but after spending much of the opening 10 minutes down at the wrong end of the field for the Roosters, off the back of a good kick from Mitchell Pearce, Saar gives a penalty away. Lazy at marker, not square.
And it's Danny Wicks who will play it at the halfway line for Newcastle. De Gois comes across to Gidley, getting up on the front line as he does so often. And the ball off there for Hilda as they go to the short side once again. Gidley once more getting the first receiver under pressure here from Anasta. He realised the sideline wasn't far away and got to ground pretty quickly. Rogers comes back from Hilda. He gives it off too far, so the Roosters fans who are here tonight thought that one was forward. No call though from the officials as De Gois goes wide. A looping ball. Gidley again getting plenty of touches in this set. Rogers back to De Gois. Quick hands to Hilda. He floats it over the top. Coming in quickly to make a tackle that had to be made was Sedamata Saar. They had some numbers on this left-hand side, but Saar read it nicely. Mullen, he goes to the air. Some pressure here on Sean Kenny Dow and also Sam Perrott. Two natural wingers playing on the same side of the field as each other. And look at Perrott go, weaving to bring it back 30 metres.
He has been the saviour of the Roosters, Sam Perrott, in recent weeks. There's Kenny Dow, who's playing left centre with Perrott. He's made some amazing runs, Sam Perrott, out of his own end to really get the Roosters out of trouble a number of times over the recent weeks.
Now Lapini Paya. Good run to take it inside the Newcastle Knights 40. No attacking chance so far in the game to speak of for the Roosters. They might get one here off the back end of this, and if they can produce something. Mason fast play the ball again. This one legal according to the referees. His friend grubbers for Cecil Wanga, who was only about 4 metres into touch when he knocked the ball back into play.
Well, Jake Friend really struggled to get the dummy half. Then it was a quick play the ball by Willie Mason. Jake Friend getting it on the run, went down the short side. I tell you what, the execution was better. Cecil Wanga was there. Would have been interesting.
Watching the Broncos and the Titans go around last night with Israel Folau scoring 4 tries, no less. As the Knights win the scrum, and they'll work it up towards their own 20. Matt Hilder it was standing out of the scrum. The lock forward will play it here for De Gois. Gidley, who's playing as a halfback pretty much here at the moment. Junior Sow picked up and a good tackle this time. Mitchell Pearson was underneath and drove him back heavily towards his own 20-metre line. Vuna takes it away from the sideline here. They're muscling up defensively in this set, the Roosters. De Gois going to Wicks. There is a halfback in a front rower's body. A little bit of halfback right there. Now it comes back for Mullen. And they'll play it here, still inside their own 30. A bit of a sloppy play the ball there as Friend flopped back to the ground. And they go from Rogers across the face of one player to go to Keith Laluya, who will play it here 40 out from his own line. They're up against the sideline now. There could be some pressure if they'd wanted the Roosters on Rogers. But they were slow getting up in his face, and as a result, he got a strong kick, and in fact, it'll bounce that into the in-goal, pushed by that sou'wester here in Sydney tonight, and Tansey is tackled inside his own 10. A terrific result off what didn't look to be a great set of 6.
Jammed down the right-hand side, and it wasn't an ordinary set, but gee, you could turn an ordinary set into a good one with a kick like that. Ben Rogers. It certainly helped that he was a left footer and kept him away from the markers, but gee, the Roosters' chase could have been better than that. They could have put more pressure on.
They came wide to Anasta here, the Roosters. He had Cooper Richards and Kenny Dowell on his outside, but he took the tackle. Now Miles. And Fitzgibbon coming up to join in. Got one around the chin there from Steve Simpson inadvertently, as Mark O'Mealy and Frank Paul-Nu'uausala wait for their chance. Anasta's kick is a grubbering type. Played off the legs by Gidley, who brings it back to be tackled just inside his own 30 by Nate Miles.
He wastes no time, does he, Kirk Gidley? You're not left wondering what he's trying to do. He's so quick back at the defensive line on a kick return. That's why he leads the league in metres made from kicks. As Laluya dances across sideways. Good tackle, Willie, around the legs.
Mullen from dummy half. Comes away to Zeb Taylor, got a ball away, a good one for Kuna, who was playing at left centre. In fact, Vuna. I've combined his Christian name and his surname. Sorry, Cooper. Here is Gidley. A lovely ball out the back. It comes away for Fa'oso. Now Mullen going to the right-hand side. Rogers did want to hang on to it, and Anasta made the tackle. Here's Mullen going from dummy half. The banana off the outside of the boot, taken in the field of play by Wanga. And they'll drive him back into the in-goal area.
Yeah, that was a good passage. A couple of good passages there from the Newcastle side. Great hands by Cooper Vuna to pick that pass up. Had Sissa Wanga in trouble, turned him around a couple of times. Then there was a great take by Richie Farso. There's the hands from Cooper Vuna down low and behind him. He's a handful for a big bloke. He's got some fantastic footwork, and then the push from the 3 defenders. Taylor involved.
Let's go, mate. 10 seconds.
Earns the Knights a repeat set.
Well, if you're going to get somebody's name wrong, make sure it's not Carmichael Hunt. Here is Danny Wicks, bringing it back to within about 28 of the Roosters line. De Gois. He goes to Rogers. And now Taya. About 15 away they are when he plays it here with plenty of tackles up their sleeve once again. Still looking for a breakthrough try. Gidley showing it a couple of times. Going wide to Simpson, who is standing still. The Lyons now grabbed from behind, but not effectively by Kenny Dow, and Fitzgibbon had to get there to help him out. De Gois down the short side, coming back towards the open. Ridden to the ground by Fitzgibbon. And Friend was there also. They're 5 metres away. A couple of tackles left in this at Mullen. The no-look ball for Richie Fa'oso, who was stopped. Nate Miles thought there was a knock-on. Now there is a knock-on. Oh, no, it is not. It's a penalty.
Move, but I had the ball, mate. Right, no matter what your opinion is, I called move, so you have to get off, mate, all right? I had the ball there, sir.
Well, from beside the uprights, and having been unable to crack them, we'll wait and see if they take the 2 here. Well, they might tap it and keep it going. Here it is again. Nate Miles hit a ball. I've got the ball. There it is. Well, he certainly did touch the ball, so you can't complain about the penalty.
Oh, I don't think the ball had dislodged that much for it to be Nate Miles' pill.
Gidley again going to Mullen. Simpson well handled by Anasta. It was a sizable 5'8". Makes a good stop there. Mullen to Gidley again. Floating, coming to the side. They surely have to score this time. They will. Zeg Taylor it is who reaches out and gets the first points of the night for Newcastle.
Some good play there, Kurt Gidley. He's been a handful, just floating across the field, dummying inside, holding the defence up, then hitting a second man. Did it a couple of times the set before, and it's 13 up against 7. They've had plenty of ball, Newcastle. Here he goes across the field inside to Fa'oso. Terrific long ball to Zeb Taylor. And Sarah and Wanger, as they were sliding, were always going to struggle with the ball in front of Taylor. He didn't have to stop on his charge. It was a perfect ball from Gidley.
On the best side of the field, the left-hand side for a right-footed kicker as he tries to swing this one back with the breeze. In fact, he holds it up against the breeze. And it just fades back at the end to go over the black dot. 6 points to 0 it is. They had to wait. They were patient. But a weight of possession has finally got some points on the board for the Newcastle Knights. Let's go downstairs to Scotty Sattler.
Well, it's those tries from Newcastle Knights we're used to seeing, ball movement, but this man here, Kurt Gidley, I've been watching him in back play, the amount of involvement, not only with the ball in his hands, but just the marshalling he does with his troops. He's just involved in everything. He just must be exhausted after a game. But another person who's really impressed me is Danny Wicks, a guy who looks like he's stripped a little bit of weight in the off-season. He's a lot more efficient with his running. He's become a really powerhouse for this team.
He has dropped a lot of weight, Danny Wicks, 15 kilos, in fact, on what he was at some stages of 2008. He's a real athlete as well. Could have been a gymnast in another lifetime. Some of the things he can do with the ball. He certainly can run, we know that. Scored, well, a 65-metre try against this side last year, the Roosters, which some of the Roosters didn't take too kindly to. They thought he was showing them up. Junior Sow's doing a good job of that right now. Here he is, making a break. Gidley will set sail for the line. The cover comes. He bounces off Braith Anasta. He keeps going to Simpson. He feeds it on away to Keith Lalita. He comes back to the middle of the field. He'll have to go back and pick it up. De Gois it is, who will take the tackle and settle things. A terrific run once again by Junior Sow.
Well, where was the Roosters' defence? It was not there down the short side.
Now Wicks, a ball out the back. He flips it to be picked up here by Gidley. He's got Simpson with him. He says, you take a run. I'm just about out of my feet. The amount of touches Kurt Gidley has already had in this game. Here's De Gois from dummy half. He comes across to Mullen. Taylor back on the inside. Good tackle. They close the gap between Miles and Friend very effectively. Mullen chipping it back towards Sam Perrott. Oh, floating up there. McManus was above them. Tapped it backwards. But that will be the changeover on the last. It wasn't touched by the Roosters.
He did well, Sean Kenny Dow, just to put McManus off. There's a couple of the Knights. Corey Patterson, Adam McDougall, who misses out again after being ruled out last week against the Titans. There's Kenny Dow just putting McManus off his run and off his leap. He can get up there, McManus can't.
As he showed in the game between Country and City up in Orange. Sensational leap above the pack. Here is Fitzgibbon. Stuck there by Mullen, who is floating from the left-hand side to the right-hand side of the field, switching defensively with Ben Rogers, who for the moment is out on this left-hand side. O'Mealy is out there. His first game since Anzac Day for the Roosters. Off the back of his run, the kick goes down to be taken here on the full by Kurt Gidley. He brings it back to be chopped down by Sean Kenny down, then flopping in over the top, according to the referees, was Braithen Astor.
I don't know about that.
You keep it, Swallow.
I don't know. Here's Gidley, goes back down the short side. Kenny Dow. Well, he put a hand on him.
There wasn't a whole lot more than that, though.
He slid in. That was about it.
It wasn't your quintessential flop by any stretch, was it?
I don't think it stopped him getting up and playing the ball. Had no bearing on that.
As a result, the Knights come on the attack, looking to make this a double-figure lead. Here's Gidley showing it to nobody back on the inside. He finds a willing hand on the left-hand side of the field. And Zeb Taylor will play it. Oh, he got a little one there. In fact, it was Mark Tafua. A little one with the knees. Rogers goes in behind them. Taylor will bounce away from the defence and score his second. It's proven to be a costly penalty given away by the Roosters, because Taya has a double. They're running rampant on this left-hand side of the field, and the Knights make it 10 points to 0.
Well, double amount of possession that the Roosters have had. 16 sets up against 8 sets for the Roosters. Benny Rogers is a clever player. Inside Frank Paul Nuasala, little dummy. Then Zeb Taylor over to push off Jordan Tansey. But the Roosters' defence just hasn't been there a couple of times. Good low tackle by Willie Mason, but Frank Paul, who started off the bench, made it too easy for Ben Rogers. And Zeb Taylor, well done.
Once again, he's firing them like Robin Hood. Absolutely arrow straight was that conversion by Kurt Gidley. He makes it 12-0 downstairs to Scotty.
You look across the park and you look at the Newcastle Knights ball play. You've got Kurt Gidley, you've got Benny Rogers when he's consistent like that play he just put on. You've got Jared Mullen, that man on screen. You've got Isaac De Gois out of dummy half. And you also got little Matty Hilda, you mentioned, Brandy, in regards to the short passing game he's got. They're a dangerous side, this Newcastle Knights, and they've flown under the radar with a lot of so-called experts this year, but the attacking prowess they've got the ability to put 30 or 40 on the best of most of our sides in this competition.
Here's Cooper Vuna, who brings it back to be stopped, and a good tackle. Craig Fitzgibbon getting up in his face and driving him back a long way. Now they want to spread the ball inside their own 10-metre zone. They're confident now, the Knights, aren't they?
Well, that's good to see, isn't it? Short defensive side from the Roosters. Short defensive line. They throw the ball wide. They make 20 metres. There's not much risk in that. As long as you can catch and pass, there's no risk in it.
Chris Houston is out there for Brian Smith and the Knights now to play it here just on the other side of the 40-metre line as the Knights look at De Gois going from dummy half, getting in between the A defenders, and he keeps it alive as it goes from Houston back from Simpson. Play on as the call. That was backwards, the pass from Simpson to Houston, they said. As a result, they'll have one more here. Gidley going wider still from Mullen to Rogers. Cut-out ball, a chance. Sow juggled it. That might have killed the chance. He grubbers very well, as it turned out. Jordan Tansey wanted it to go dead, but had to make it dead himself.
Well, they're throwing everything at the Roosters, aren't they? Junior Sow is having a field day down this left-hand side. Got the lucky bounce. It stayed in field. Jordan Tansey, well, it looked like it was going to go dead. It looked like it was going to go out, but he had to play at it. Well, they'll be doing good here, the Roosters. 68% of possession to the Knights, and they're not squandering it either.
No surprise that 60% of the game so far has been played at this end of the field, as that graphic told you. Now Anasta with the goal line dropout as we approach the half-an-hour mark, and it is all the Knights everywhere you look, including the scoreboard. Tafua, a former Newcastle Rugby Union competition player, plucked out of obscurity really to become a star with the Knights in the NRL, as Taya takes it forward. De Gois. Played from just outside the 20. Here's Hilda. Straightening the attack as he stopped there by Friend and also Newcastle. Midfield they are. Options either side as they go to the right-hand side for Houston. Seems to have created a line break every week so far this season. Now Mullen off the right again, giving it to De Gois. He does a complete 360. I think he's an America's Cup skipper. Got a penalty before the start line, the way he wheeled there and wheeled again before he was stopped by Fitzgibbon. Here's Gidley going to Mullen, chipping it over the top, chasing through. Well, nobody was chasing through Vuna. It was an afterthought surely by Mullen to put the kick in because both Vuna and Sau were nowhere near the ball.
Well, they were lined out for a pass. They were lined deep and the Roosters get a penalty. And they needed that desperately. Ben Rogers giving it away. But the Knights were lined out for the pass. They were standing deep. And the kick from Mullen caught them unaware.
And the Bronx cheer from the crowd here. The Roosters getting a penalty. Their first of the game, and the Roosters fans didn't miss the moment. They'll help them out of their own end. 4-1 the count is at this point in time as Mark O'Mealy takes it forward. As said, you asked Brad Fittler before the game, was it too dramatic to say he was playing for his immediate future in first grade here at the Roosters? He said no, that is a bit too dramatic, but boy, by the same token, he does need a big game, you'd imagine, here tonight, having missed the last two.
Well, that's right. He's been freshened up, and I suppose they want to see what the 2 weeks of freshening up has done for him.
Here's Pearce to Anasta. It's Gibbon running along on that left-hand side, grabbed there around the shoulders by Houston. Fast play, the ball gives them some room to move in. Newcastle popping it out the back for Pearce. Mason, the second phase play now, runs at Rogers, who was riding him like he was a Shetland pony at the Easter show. Wanga for Pearce to put it high in the air. He goes across towards Kenny, down, and Parrott knocked backwards by McManus.
Knocked off him,
And I will say, in fact, it was a Rooster who got a hand to it, and the Knights will bring it back out to their own 20.
Well, not many 50-50s have gone the Roosters' way. There's the kick from Mitchell Pearce. Out to McManus. Kenny Dow's there. Parrott. Pretty hard to tell who it did come off finally.
It looked as though it might have bounced off Sam Parrott's chest, perhaps. There is Mitchell Pearce. Got a chance to play a bit of second phase football in the lead up to that moment. Really, they've had no pressure at all on the Newcastle Knights goal line. We've had more than 30 minutes of play.
1 tackle in the opposition 20 for the Roosters, 14 for the Newcastle team, so gives you a good indication of where the game's being played.
Gidley now getting into dummy half, busting tackles and picking up the best part of 20 metres as a result. He plays it quickly also. De Gois goes to Mullen. He turns it back inside for Simpson, who ran into Jake Friend. Rattled in the tackle there, the second row by the smaller man. Now a kick off Nate Miles, not played. That's still the last tackle. It comes back to Rogers, who puts it high in the air. Cecil Wanga stands underneath it, then Cooper Vuna flew past him a long time after that man Cecil Wanga had come down with it, and as a result the Roosters will work it away from the corner of the field up against their own try line once again. Pearce comes to Nate Miles. Already a couple of plays gone. Miles will be wrapped up, and they've used up 3 plays. They're just outside their own 10. Parrott doing well once again. He's been their best by a street. Sedamanasa will follow suit. And a couple of good runs have got them out of trouble because they were in trouble. They'll play it here beyond their own 40 as a result. Tansey at dummy half now. It goes to Anasta, who chips in behind them. Forfeits Gibbon, who is chasing through. I don't know, that was in the playbook. Here's McManus stepping out of tackles. He's still going. Fends away from Newcastle before he's wrapped up there by O'Mealy. And he'll give away a penalty as well. And here comes the official warning.
Braith. We're not far from half-time. I spoke at the start of the game. All right, and we've spoken to you a couple of times here on the trot. That's blatant. I'll give you every chance to move. Get him off. I'm not going to keep talking to you. You fix it.
Although shown in recent times, they won't muck around with repeat infringement. We certainly saw that with the Roosters and the Storm on Monday night on the Central Coast. We'll wait and see if they make good on their promise. They have done
if it's a ruck penalty,
in the last few weeks.
A bit of leniency somewhere. What are you doing, mate? 2 points.
And Kurt Gidley will take the chance to put them out by more than 2 converted tries. I just want to go back to the play. Braithen Astor, the chip over the top. I don't mind the chip over the top from inside your own half. In fact, I think we should see a fair bit more of it. But please make Sam Perrott or Sean Kenny Dow the target and not Craig Fitzgibbon.
Well, that's all right if you chip over the top. It's just got to work. It's no good if it doesn't come off. If it doesn't come off, well, you're on a hiding to nothing, really. It wasn't as if Newcastle was short on numbers or it was a straight line and there was a bit of space over the back there. That's what can happen. It wasn't far from coming off, but they've got to come off.
You're much more of a chance of pulling that off if somebody a bit speedier than Craig Fitzgibbon, the veteran as he is the man who is the target. As a result, they've given away a penalty just out 22 metres from the post. And Kurt Gidley, the one who's striking them tonight, could kick this left-footed. He does make it 14 points to nil, and whatever happened some month or so ago with his kicking has certainly gone. He's striking them beautifully, and it's 14-0, 33 minutes gone in this one on Super Saturday.
I'm a little surprised they took the 2 points there. The Roosters still in this game. Another try before half-time. Newcastle could have just about shut the Roosters out of it. Possession rates swing around in the second half. Well, you know, that brings the Roosters back into the game. They'll certainly need that sort of swing in possession.
Braithen Astor kicking off into the breeze. He's got a strong boot. He drives it a long way. In fact, Rogers almost missed that. Looking up into the lights, perhaps. I don't know what happened there, but he was in an ace. I've seen that one sail over his head to get 6 tackles for the Roosters. Oh, as Newcastle comes running up out of the line. He grabbed Caruana by the collar. It was spectacular, but all legal. As George Nadira is out there now, taking it up towards the 20. Here is Caruana once again. This time grabbed by Mark O'Mealy. Gidley, seeing there was only one marker, splits them to go down the field once again. A ball out the back for Rogers. He'll go for the line. A ball over the top for Mullen. And the Knights at their spectacular best. Kurt Gidley out of dummy half like a ballistic missile. And the support just kept on coming.
Every chance of that breaking down with Kurt Gidley and Ben Rogers until Gidley pulled out a piece of magic. There he is taking off Willie Mason. He had him beaten. Nate Miles, the A defender. Look at that there. Ben Rogers flicks from the outside back onto the inside. He draws both the fullback and the chaser, and I think it was Braithen Astor. The acceleration from Gidley. There's Rogers back on the inside. What a ball. And then Benny Rogers did just as well, just to float it over the top. He's ball playing 1 and 2 wide. He's kicking goals. He's doing everything tonight.
It's 20 points to nil in a game in which the Roosters were coming here to try and make a statement on their own turf, having won just 1 of 4 here at the football stadium so far this season. 1 from 5 overall with home games if you include Gosford on Monday night. And could they be any more at ease up there in the Newcastle coach's box?
Well, no, they'd be feeling pretty good. 20-0. But how do you compete against a side that has played almost perfect football? 19 from 21 for the Newcastle Knights.
Well, here they go again, and it's Tafua to bring it away. A much more easy reception this time off the kick-off from Rogers. Gidley is fair dinkum everywhere. Dummy half, first receiver, kick returns, doing the lot. Houston. He will play it here, 30 out from his own line. Nadira goes across to Rogers. He had Simpson coming with him. He was well targeted by the Roosters defence, so Rogers hung on to it. Nadira once more. Goes across to Caruana. Plenty of work coming off the bench. It was a nervous look from Brad Fittler, wasn't it, to see if he was on the screen? Yes. Sorry, Brad. Can't be too comfortable when it's 20 points to nil and you're in the fishbowl up there in the coach's box. Boy, they have just been outclassed by some measure here tonight, the Roosters. Tansey will play it after a minimal game from dummy half. He'll go back to Perrott. He jinks and steps once again, grabbed here by George Nadira. Now friend from dummy half. Has Fitzgibbon coming with him.
Not there, George. Stay out of it.
And they weren't back the 10. George Nadira it was who was called out by Steve Lyons. We'll give the Roosters one last chance here before the halftime siren sounds. Not one scoring opportunity in the first half of the home side.
Well, they just haven't been down here. They haven't had the ball, and they have not been down this end of the football field. Well, you might say they're lucky to only be 20 behind.
In some ways you would. Here's Lapini Paya. Going to get them down inside that 20 in a hurry. He just about was able to do that. He plays it here for Friend. He goes to a Nasta off the left foot. He runs into the formidable shape there of Steve Simpson. He'll play it 10 metres out. Friend comes back for Paya, showing it to Nate Miles. About 4 metres away when he plays it there in the tackle of Caruana. Now Pearce to the line. He gives it off to Tansey. Jones couldn't pick it up. Kupavuna could. There's nobody in front of him. And unless Wagger can pick him up, it will be more than 20. Wagger is flying, trying to get to him and grabbed him by the coattails.
Great tackle, Sissa.
Time out.
He's going to send him to the bin, though.
Time out, Swaggle.
Nate Miles it is for a professional foul. Seconds out from half-time. They'll play for 10 in the second half with just 12 on the field. Here's the chase again. It was a terrific chase. Got him just, and then Miles came in after the event. Well, once again, he did flop in, but I don't know it slowed down to play the ball that much.
Well, he touched him, but he slid straight off him again.
Yeah.
Like he slid in, touched him on his way through, and then the player could have got up. He blew it quickly, I think, before he realised where Nate Miles was, and that wasn't touching the player.
Maybe they're talking about half-time. Let's do something.
Chris James talking to Braith and Aston. I guess they had given them the official warning. Interestingly, the last time Steve Lyons and Chris James refereed together, I think you'll find, I could be wrong, but it was Parramatta versus Canberra, and there was a controversial professional foul sin bidding of David Milne in that game, which Steve Lyons ruled on, and it certainly hurt the Raiders on that occasion, albeit this one a 20-0 scoreline. But that one was controversial, didn't help the Raiders on that night.
No, it didn't. There was a couple of controversial calls that night, but the sin binning of David Milne hurt the Raiders' chances of winning that one, and I think they blew the whistle a little quick on that occasion too. It was lazy from Nate Miles. It was lazy, but he wasn't touching him. He made contact, but slid straight past him.
Well, here's Gidley, who will get two. A fancy, though, had play been able to continue on. So they're going to get 4. Here is Gidley. He gets the flags in the air once again. That's all he's done all afternoon, or all early evening, if you like. It's 22 points to 0. And the Roosters fans won't be too happy about the officiating, but really it hasn't had a lot to do with the scoreline. 22 points to 0. Time blown back on by Steve Lyons. And it will be a shallow kick coming across. They won't even get to it, the Roosters. It bounces down to Lapini Paya. He had an awkward one bounce right between his knees, and there was a lack of urgency there from the Roosters. There is a breeze holding up that ball off the kickoff towards the southern end in the second half, but that was graphic how slowly the Roosters reacted.
Well, they just weren't prepared for it, and that's really the Roosters' season. They're not prepared for anything. Don't assume anything, and that one caught them by surprise, and he did well. Payer, as you said, that ball went between his legs. He just dragged it in somehow. Good run from Payer, that man, to get them up to halfway.
He'll play it here on the last. It goes from Friend. He's back there at dummy half now. Pearce does the kicking, but he picks out Kurt Gidley on the full. And the Newcastle Knights captain brings it back to almost the 30-metre line. Mullen at dummy half. Gives it off. McManus charging hard and straight into the meat of the Roosters forwards. Good run from him. Leah following suit to bring it back towards the halfway line. Nadira goes to Mullen. Here's Rogers. He has Sal and also Zeb Taylor out there. They picked up big meters in their first possession of this second half. They'll play it just outside the Roosters 40. Of course, they're playing 12 men for the first 10 minutes of this second half. Taylor, he will play it just outside the 30 on the last from Rogers. It goes to Mullen. He puts it high and near. It'll hang in the breeze. Perrott standing underneath it. McManus coming through. Batted it backwards. Play on for Fitzgibbon. He gives it off for Jordan Tansey. Just how fast is he? He's quick enough and they can chase, but they won't get to him. Mullen at the death just about did. He stopped alarmingly in the shadows of the post, Jordan Tansey. But he got there. And the Roosters are on the board. He's no stayer. He might be a golden slipper chance, not a Melbourne Cup candidate.
Well, they needed that, didn't they, the Roosters? It looked like it was going to go the other way. Newcastle, the back from McManus. It's beaten the Newcastle player. Zeb Taylor it was who makes the tackle on Fitzgibbon, but he's got a quicker man on the outside. And here's a quicker man chasing in Jared Mullen. Absolutely stopped in his tracks, Jordan Tansey, but was able to do enough to get across the line. The perfect bounce for Fitzgibbon, who was still back where he passed the ball, Fitzgibbon, and getting some attention from the trainers. And Mullen shows great speed, but Tansey gets the ball across the line. Gee, they needed it.
Aston now doing the kicking. I guess the flag's in the air with Fitzgibbon, of course. Injured and about to come from the field. That's why Anasta was kicking, and Craig Fitzgibbon now joins Sia Soliola on the sidelines for the Roosters.
It just went down a legs tackle from Zeb Taylor after Fitzgibbon fielded the ball that bounced straight into his hands. There's Mark O'Mealy, who played very little time in the first half. His numbers, only 3 runs with the ball and 7 tackles. And we said it was too dramatic to say O'Mealy was on trial for the rest of the season. In fact, his career with the Roosters, well, he's been given very little game time so far in this one. And by the way Fitzgibbon left the field then, and as he goes up the tunnel, you'd say they'd be down 2. And Nate Miles off the field in the bin.
You'd imagine it would be a 15-man rotation now for Brad Fittler, with both Soliola and Fitzgibbon out of action. Here's Sedimana taking it across the halfway line. Well, they are going to say a knock on, and Braith Anasta is blowing up Deluxe.
Well, I don't know if the referees even saw it. If Sarah just got up and played the ball, it was a late call from the officials. Newcastle players. Well, it was stripped out by Jared Mullen. Just grabbed the ball, Sedimana, and played to the whistle. If he hadn't got up, I don't know if anyone was going to say anything. The Roosters blowing up brought it to the attention of the officials. They saw the ball and blew the whistle.
Ball. Hold there. Hold.
And he had good reason, didn't he, to give the death stares there, Braith Anasta, because they've had a tough night. 50-50 calls, if you like, going against them for the most part. The Newcastle Knights haven't needed an invitation to come down the field and score points. Here is Simpson losing the ball now, and the Roosters fans will say, well, that is justice, as Sean Kenny Dowlett is, who works it up towards his own 40. He took quite a shot from Steve Simpson as well, and now the rangy winger gets up limping as well. Here's Payne playing it. A friend, Pearce. Back underneath there for Willie Mason. He stopped there in a tackle by Marvin Caruana. Payer again getting through some work, isn't he? Putting his hand up. Good run once again back on the angle in behind the play. The ball goes to Pearce. He comes to Anasta. He's got Saar cutting back underneath him. Sean Kenny Dow is still limping. We'll get the dummy half here, but he's nowhere near 100% after limping out of a tackle. Here's Pearce. Good short ball there for Cooper Ritzis. Grabbed by Caruana and also Zeb Taylor, the man who grabbed a double to begin the game for Newcastle. A little chip over the top. Tansey was the target. Backwards off Simpson. Into the arms of Kurt Gidley, who was waiting underneath it as ever to pick up the crumbs.
Well, let's see if the Roosters can make the Knights do some hard work, not give away a penalty, and force them to kick the ball. In saying that, they've already made it from 30 after 3. McManus, a good run from dummy half.
Here's Sal beating 2 before he comes to Willie Mason, who takes him to ground heavily. Let's go downstairs quickly to Scott Sackler.
We saw Craig Fitzgibbon limp from the field in a fair bit of discomfort. He felt a sharp pain as soon as he hit the ground after offloading that ball to Tansey. They don't know how bad it is, whether they can strap it up even further and get him back out on the field. They're just going to assess how it is right now up in the medical room.
We'll wait and see what the word is in the meantime.
He's in front of him, mate.
Here's offside call against the Roosters. They cannot take a trick here this evening. 7.5 gone. About 2 minutes remaining before Nate Miles can rejoin the action to make it 13 versus 13 once again. Mullen off the left foot. Well, I'm not convinced that he was offside, said Amata Sarr when he picked it up. I think the ball might have just been just back behind the point where he made contact with his teammate.
Yeah, another tough one. As we said, the 50-50s haven't gone their way. I think they've done well, but they'll be doing well to hang on here.
Hold the line, boys, hold the line.
8 minutes without Nate Miles and down to 12 men. And they've won the 10 minutes with the 8 minutes, 6-0.
They'll play it through to Fuhr. It comes to Mullen at the line, showing it, sneaking in behind them, and then bouncing across. We're going to check it to see if it was a double movement. I fancy he might have bounced across through momentum.
You know what? I think he's been very clever, Jared Mullen, because I don't think he advanced the ball at all. I think he kept it down by his side. He knew if he moved that arm, it would be ruled a double movement. Let's just see, in fact, if that's what he did. He actually pulled it back towards himself, back towards his chest. He didn't advance the ball. He pulled it back into his body.
You're exactly right. He reached out there thinking he might be able to get there and then realised, tucked it underneath, and it looks as though he finishes up on top of the paint.
Well, I saw a Jonathan Thurston try disallowed against the Dragons last week, which was very similar, but he didn't advance the ball. He bounced into the Angola, or he certainly bounced onto the try line.
And with that in mind, I think we'll see the green lights here from Chris Ward. He says try. Jared Mullen has a double. The 4th try of the night for the Newcastle Knights, and they extend that lead once again. It was clever work, wasn't it? Would have been tempting to reach out with the arm to put it down, but he had them struggling on this left-hand side, and Nasta and company outside him. Sean Kenny Dow, Sam Perrott had eyes for the men on the outside, the little dummy, and the speed there to get inside Sedamata Sarr, on the outside rather of Sedamata Sarr, and in behind him. Could not have struck them any better than he did in the first half. And this one stays inside the left hand upright as well. We're back to where we were at half-time, a 22-point game. Newcastle 28 for the Roosters 6. We have just on half an hour remaining. Of course, the Roosters' only try coming against the run of play off a Newcastle bomb of all things, with Tansey running a long way. It was good work. You saw he had the momentum there. No hint of extending that arm. And with last week's call, I'm sure, as we said, in mind, Chris Ward had a couple of looks and said, that'll do. Green lights for one of the men in contention for one of the halves jobs for New South Wales. It's been quite a season, hasn't it, for Jared Mullen, with the rib injury and the shoulder injury. He's played through pain. He's only missed just the one game. That was the week after he suffered that rib injury against the Sharks, and he was back in action very quickly after that. And able to do a terrific job. I still don't even know if he's anywhere near 100% fit.
Well, I don't think he would be. The shoulder looked like it was going to keep him out for the season, the shoulder injury, and then they reduced that to a month. But he was on the field that weekend. So obviously, at some stage, if he can hang on for the rest of the year, he will need a shoulder operation. But he'll have to battle through.
That is the case. They're doing a good job in the physio room, keeping him on the field for the time being. Kick will run down a long way. They watched it. Perrott was there, so was Tansey, and as a result, well, they've been consistent. The Knights won't be happy. And again, the Bronx cheers. Cheers of irony, if you like, from the Roosters fans, saying, well, we did get one finally.
He hit the ground pretty quick. Mullen did a great job on Sam Perrott. Not often that he hits the ground so quickly. I think Hilda had already committed himself, but by the time he got there, Perrott had been on the ground a second or two, and the penalty was warranted.
A friend it is. It's back in action. Gives it off to Sedamata Sarr, who fancy a switch inning at the moment as a second rower with both Soliola and Fitzgibbon off the field. Now Miles had the ball come away from his hands. He had the presence of mind to bat it backwards. It was picked up there by Jake Friend, who was grabbed around the neck by Matt Hilda. No call as comes. Oh, away! Sean Kenny down. He tried to put a big fend on the chin there of Keith Lalia, who was able to accommodate him and take him to the turf well.
Was that a fend or a straight right?
There was some sort of impact, wasn't it? Boy, they came together. It was a good tackle, and they wrestled on the ground as well. Now Jones, on the outside there of Junior Sal, but he gets some help from Vuna. They stop him 20 out from the Newcastle line. Pearce kicking in behind them, looking for a Nasta chasing through. They've combined for some tries, those two, over the last couple of seasons, but not on this occasion. It was too big, and the Knights will bring it back out to their own 20 as Brian Smith has, I'm sure, a rare instruction into the walkie-talkie here tonight.
I think it's been a quiet night for the trainers. Not much really to tell this Newcastle side. They've controlled the ball well. They've dominated. They've done most things well.
Simpson down the short side. He runs at Kenny Dow. Played 5 on his own side of halfway. Nadira steps one way, then the other. Comes back to Matt Hilda. Taken plenty of one off the ruck hit-ups tonight, has Hilda. 10 now in the game for him as they go forward through Mullen. Looking for a little offload there. He had a player in support, but they took him to ground. And it's a slow play, the ball. Peeny Payer eventually gets off him as Rogers dummies to kick. Now he chips in over the top. Too big as it turns out. Tansey got there comfortably and will be stopped just outside his own 20. The idea was right, but it's a little bit too close to the line there. And with that far off the Roosters line, about 35 metres out or so when he put the kick in, it might have been more effective back in midfield with the fullback playing a little bit deeper perhaps as Mason.
Has to be perfect if you're that close to the try line, and I think that the fact that he changed his mind always meant it was going to be difficult to put it where he wanted it.
Here's Pearce coming to Nuasala. Spin there in the tackle. Pearce was around the back looking for an offload, but one wasn't coming. They'll play it here on the last to Anasta to put it up in the air. Chasing through with Sedamata Sarr, puts some pressure on Gidley, but there he is again. He does that so well. Spins as he catches it, and almost in a protective fashion has a leg out there just to make sure he can bump off a chaser if need be.
And if the chaser's not there, he can take off, which is a great skill.
What a game he's had. Now Vuna, dummy half. Oh, big fend there on Mitchell Pearce, was it? Came away like he was fired out of an ejector seat. Last play. Houston playing it for Nadira. Goes to Mullen. He'll kick for the corner. Going back. He picked up here by Cecil Wanga. He's a big type. You have to be about 6'2" in the old money and He'd have to weigh 90 plus kilos, 95, I'd suggest even.
Well, that was a great hit then from the Newcastle halves. Ben Rogers, Mullen, who kicked the ball, led the chase, and he looks a bit crook, Mullen, as he runs back into position slowly.
Chance on the left-hand side for the Roosters. They still come that way through a Nasta. Away to Saar. Now Kenny Dow, who stepped away originally from Carroll Warner to play it just outside their own 40. They come down through some numbers to the short side. Perrott gets in behind them. The cover was there. He comes back to Sean Kenny Dow. Chopped down by Mark Tafua just outside the Knights 20. Play number 5. They come back to Sedimata Saar, who had nobody with him. He passes the ball and nobody was there. Well, somebody had to call for it from the Knights, surely, because there was nobody on the short side. They went to him anyway, and he still passed the ball.
Yeah, good raid down the short side, wasn't it? Great hands. I think Nick Cooperitsis, who was still left lying on the ground after the hit from one of the Newcastle players, Sedimata Saar. It's Jared Mullen, who he thinks is one of his players. There he goes. Mullen still recovering from that shoulder. He's hurt that right shoulder again. He's been carrying it a little bit. There's O'Mealy back on the field. Cooperitsis in the middle of the scrum.
Put in.
Well, they came back the short side. There was no one there.
Sort of sums up the Roosters' night, doesn't it? If not their season. Chance at attack, and they picked the wrong way to go. Here is Teo. Ball away for Junior Sow. Look out if he gets wound up. He's Matt Utai-like. Similar build, and he plays it here just outside the 30. Now he goes down. Slumped back to his haunches after playing the ball. See how he is. Here's Gidley, and that was a penalty against Ben Jones for flopping in after the event.
Well, how many flops? I know they've been hard done by in a couple of flops, but the Roosters, and flopping is just one of those lazy, coach-killing penalties. Like if Brad Fittler's sitting up there, a flop, that is just so lazy. God, I couldn't be sitting there like that. I'd be hitting the box and trying to throw something at one of the players. That's just so lazy and a dumb penalty. There's the Sow. There's the tackle by Ben Jones on Sow. He's got up all right, Sow. He's back in the line.
He's one of those players, Junior Sow, who during the course of a game will get in a couple of times and you think, boy, he might be in trouble here, and then suddenly he runs 70 metres and scores a try. There's the flop again by Ben Jones. May have been a couple of tough ones against them. Once you see the theme repeated, you start to think, as you say, there is an issue as Gidley almost gets away from them. Mark O'Mealy is back out there, and Gidley went straight back at him once again. He's got the ogre under pressure. Nadira goes back to Gidley, to Fua, to Mullen. They're lined to the left-hand side. A kick in behind them for Vuna. Taken out of play by Cecil Wanga.
Stay there, stay there.
Well, the Knights players applauding that. It was a lovely kick from Jared Mullen. It's Cecil. Pretty quick to turn and do the job there. It's going to land right in the lap of Cooper Vuna.
It was a good kick. I'd like to know, though, what Brian Smith made of it, because they had the overlap there, and if they'd put it through the hands and just drawn and pass, they'd probably make it to the corner anyway.
10 seconds.
Instead, they get 6 more tackles here. 59 minutes gone. It has been one-way traffic tonight. Just the one try, though, so far in this second half for the Knights. They had to be patient to begin the first half. We'll wait and see if they get a few more tries off the back of repeat sets in the minutes to come. Tafua almost cracking them again there. O'Mealy made the tackle with Miles. Picking it up and knocking it on was George Nadira. He knew he had the front rowers in trouble, all sorts of trouble, in fact, at marker. And he was just about off again, and he was going to score easily.
We just got too excited. Just a little one.
Let's pack the scrum. Let's go.
He knows it too. He knows it's cost him a try.
Kurt, stay bound, I'll call it. You go, Mitch, get that leg up. No, Mitchell, don't put it in.
Well, the Roosters are generally good up until about this time in the game, about 60 minutes. They've had a bad habit in the last 20 minutes of just fading. They did it in the first half. Let's see how whether they can hang on.
As you say, they do it just about every week. Here's Kenny Down now to play it just outside the 30. Let's go downstairs to Scotty.
Guys, I've just been watching from down here at ground level, just at the Roosters in general, haven't been concentrating too much on the Knights, and just offensively they're not pushing into space. Their attack, there's no communication. Defensively, they're not pushing back for one another. The inside defenders aren't working around the markers. They're not talking to each other. It's just all the basics that are letting them down. They look as though they're a team that are strangers.
They certainly have played that way in recent times. You go back to round 5 to find the last time they scored 20 points in a game. And they're heavy odds on not to do that again here tonight. Here's Gidley bringing it back and almost getting away from Ben Jones there. He'll play it just outside the 20. Vuna just galloping away from the sideline. Getting some players back, the Newcastle Knights. They've got Adam McDougall out of action here tonight, along with Aku Uwata. You throw them into the mix and you think, boy, it's tough to get a job in the back line.
Where's Nguama? There's another one, another outside back that is on the injured list. Corey Patterson hopefully will be back shortly and back into the forward pack.
Here's Caruana. Gidley picking it up, floating to the left-hand side, showing it, getting on the outside of Mitchell Pearce. He did well to hang with him, and he stops him 40 out from the Roosters line. Rogers goes to Mullen, who will kick again for that corner and make Tansey work it away. It'll bounce up and then just trickles on over the dead ball line for the Roosters to bring it back out for the restart from the 20.
There is a train of thought amongst some that Kurt Gidley could be pushing not just for the fullback spot but for the 5'8" spot for New South Wales. And what he's offered here tonight for the Newcastle Knights, 1 and 2 off the ruck, he'd look all right in a number 6 jersey, a number 6 blue jersey. Terry Campese's got the inside running, but I don't think he'd go astray.
No, he wouldn't, but he can play that role anyway, can't he, from the back as the Roosters make a mistake here. Tansey it is, coughing it up. And the Knights will get the ball back at the halfway line. The beauty of him, of course, being a fullback is he can get anywhere at any time. I guess he could do that from 5'8", but he's more likely to at fullback, float in behind them, jump the dummy half, go to first receiver whenever he wants to.
Yeah, I just think the intensity of a State of Origin game and the kick returns and the importance of them, and maybe running. If the wingers hit the ball back, you're the next man to take that first ruck. It might sap the juice. I know he's got a big engine, but it might sap the juice. And if he was just in the number 6, he could play a role like he has tonight, just without the worry of running the ball back from kick returns.
Well, a big call to make. The New South Wales selectors, of course, going into a series when they've lost the last 3 consecutively. Here's Sal almost away again. A bit of attention there on the ground from Sean Kenny down. Gidley showing it, going in behind them again. Another line breaker. Ball out the back. He gives it off for Vuna, who has taken into touch, but he got the ball away before going across the stripe, and it's Junior Sau who comes up with it. Another miraculous piece of play from Kurt Gidley. Here they are on the attack. Taya bouncing away once from centre. Manassar giving it to Mark Tafua, who had visions of grabbing a try. He already has one this season. He won't have a second on this occasion. Being grabbed just metres out from the line. Look at Gidley go again.
Wow, out of dummy half, the dummy caught them short. Well, Cooper Vuna did a terrific job keeping it in play. And here's Zeb Taya. Good football, Zeb Taya. Not just head down and taking the tackle. Saw an opportunity to offload it, and almost provided a 4-pointer to his front rower.
And 8 miles for the Roosters. Just on quarter of an hour remaining here. They play it from Newcastle to work it forward. Met by Hilda. Caruana also involved. They have dominated in every facet the Knights here this evening. O'Mealy, tip on for Miles rather. He'll play it about 43 away from the Knights line. Play number 5 in this set. Cooper Ritsis in there at dummy half for the moment. Well, he had a Nasta cutting back on the inside. They keep it through the hands. It bounced up. And they went from Pearce away to Jones. He'll play it 28 away this time. Pearce it is. The Bomb's their best option. Nobody contests it, though. They didn't go up for it. Boy, oh boy, they are struggling badly, aren't they, the Roosters? The Bomb is their only option to put something on, and then they don't even jump for the ball. Please.
No one wanted a piece of that. Ben Rogers actually, the ball almost hit him in the head. He turned his back to get away from it. No one wanted to catch that ball.
Taylor it is, who'll play it. McManus taking it up towards the 40, bounced off the shoulder there of Sidamata Sarr. Here's Gidley, showing it one way, going back the other for Hilda. An unconventional lock forwards game tonight from him. And now Rogers, the inside pass there from Mullen as they floated to the left-hand side of the field. Here he is again, going to the line, showing it, putting a dummy on. It's grabbed there by Mason. In the end, they did well to wrap him up about 25 out from the Roosters line. Down the short side once more, Gidley giving it to Junior Sau. He grubbers. Tansey under pressure. Vuna was there about, so was Sau. It was Sau who reached out for the ball, but Tansey did well to block it. And they'll bring it once more. Back out for the 20-metre restart, where it is Mark O'Mealy, who I am going to say, tonight, if he was, in fact, playing for his immediate future in first grade for the Roosters, I don't know that he's done enough here this evening.
Well, no, he hasn't had many minutes, hasn't been involved in the game, which isn't a good sign from a man that's had a couple of weeks rest.
Given the injuries, though, they have suffered here tonight. We'll wait and see what it means for Soliola and Fitzgibbon. He might have to be in the 17, no matter whether Brad Fittler thinks he's up to it at the moment or not.
Yours, mate.
A little kick in across the field there. The Knights come up with it.
Well, the Roosters trying miracle things now to split the line, try and get themselves over the try line.
Here's Taya playing it, not convincingly. Play on is the call as they work it forward. Tafua gets a bit of attention from Braithen Astor, who was called out by the referee as a result. And they go from dummy half. Lalia. He's a dangerous type from dummy half. Speaking of dangerous from dummy half, here's Nadira again. He went close before but knocked it on. This time he picked up big meters once again. Speaking of big meters, Gidley gets there, but this time he passes it. Mullen it is, who puts it in the air. A chance for McManus, who flew up. It went backwards off
20-metre.
a Rooster. No, in fact, it was touched by McManus in the contest there. And the Roosters will do it over again from 20 out from their own line.
Yeah, McManus got up above everyone again. And that's come off his hand. Good call.
He really has become the Flying Scotsman, hasn't he? Shown a tremendous leaping ability so far this season. Here's Pearce. Back on the inside for Cooper Ritzis. Probably a good thing they were able to pick him up mid-season from the Bulldogs, given the way they're dropping at the moment in the Roosters forward pack. And Mason takes it up to the halfway line. Play it here for Tansey. He goes to Pearce. We've got a Nasta with him. Sean Kenny Dow. He's wrapped up there by Vuna. About 38 away on the last play. The Bomb it is again. He'll put it up. Some pressure here on McManus. He goes up and makes a nice catch over the top there of Sam Perrott, and then almost got away from Jones. In fact, he did so before it was Perrott who came from behind to stop him.
They've had a good battle out here, McManus, Sam Perrott. As Isaac de Gois comes back into the fray.
Rogers from dummy half. Goes to Houston. And there's de Gois floating in behind them, looking for a chance once again. He'll get one here from Hilda. He comes up with an offload. He beat Lapini Paya. He comes towards Tansey. Now Mullen. He had Danny Wicks with him. He said, give me the ball. Vuna's there. He gets a chance to score. He's back in the try-scoring ranks. First game in 2009.
5 there, Wardy. Can you just check the touch there and get it come through the grounding, please, mate?
We'll go upstairs and have a look and see who got the touch, but you'd think it was Sisawanga who knocked the ball backwards. I don't know whether Vuna got another touch to it. You wouldn't think so from that reaction. Surely he's not smiling that hard if he knows he's knocked the ball on. Jared Mullen, the play they tried only minutes earlier, Was Werner onside? I think he was. Wanger tries to knock it dead, but he's a long way from home to do that. I don't think he got a touch there, Werner.
I don't think he went close.
Certainly no problem getting the ball on the ground.
Well, he's an entertainer. He is big and quick. We've seen that, of course, plenty of times. His time in first grade for the Newcastle Knights. He gets the green lights. They have their second try of the second half to make it 32 points to 6. We'll wait and see how results go over the course of the weekend. But there might be a bit of a breakaway in the weeks ahead, of course, with Origin around the corner as well. The top 4 will continue to do terrifically well. The Dragons beating the Bulldogs, of course, last night in the 1 versus 2 battle. Now, Gedley, well, he is human. He had to miss at some stage, and that one, a tough one, with the breeze blowing into his face up against the sideline. Stays at 32 points to 6, 235 metres tonight. 2 line breaks, 2 try assists as well. And the New South Wales captaincy surely coming his way.
Yeah, what a game.
We'll go with a short one off the kickoff here. The Roosters, for a moment there, McManus, I thought, had visions of seeing it go over the sideline on the full, but he realised it wasn't going to. Came in to make the play, and Caruana it is who plays it in good field position already off the short kickoff. Here is the Goyce going from dummy half. It comes back to Caruana from Mullen. Away to Richie Fao. So fair stint on the bench tonight. Big gap between stints for him after being in the run-on side, and a reshuffled forward pack for Brian Smith here tonight. Here they go to Danny Wicks, who splits them. He'll run away, and he'll do it once again. He's a try-scoring machine. Doesn't Danny Wicks love scoring tries against the Roosters?
Well, Danny Wicks and Richie Fayaso, who you just mentioned, starting the game up front tonight for Brian Smith. There is impact players. They get a rare chance to start. And Wicks, there's Fayaso offloading the ball. He was involved in the play. The ball offload before the line, and big Danny Wicks hits the hole. Plenty of speed. We know that. Good play. Bursting through the Anasta tackle. And enough pace, he almost ran over the dead ball line. He was going that fast.
Where was the somersault or the backflip? Methodical, deliberate approach. Another clean strike of the ball, though. It's 38-6. Boy, it's a tough old night if you're a Rooster, isn't it, Scotty?
Oh, it is. You can't help but feel disappointed in the way that they're defending. Just they seem to be out there on their own. But Sedamata Sarr just opened up that gate, didn't he, for Richard Fayaso? So it was good vision. But this big man, it was just like last night, Justin Porf, to weekend for front row scoring long-range tries. But this man, he's got bragging rights, not only against the Roosters, but 2 long-range tries he scored against the Roosters in as many seasons.
There he is, waiting for the restart, which will be too big. Danny Wicks says, "You beauty." We get to come at them once again.
Well, we were wondering if they could get another one. After that, the perfect opportunity.
Jared Mullen will kick the line here and look for plenty of metres, which he finds as well, 25 of them. If they score a try here, they can rack up their biggest ever winning margin against the Roosters. Their biggest is currently 34 points, which was the margin in that 2001 qualifying final we showed you in our pre-game show. The highlights of it, absolutely belted them up at Energy Australia Junior South. Oh, Kurt Gedley! The line wide open, put it down.
Well, he's made line breaks, he's set up tries. He wanted to score one himself. Junior South, they had them rattled. Newcastle, the couple of long balls. And those fantasy points just went down the tube.
It's 12, you know. 12 if you score a try in the fantasy comp. And I had them racked up.
Oh, he's disappointed, isn't he?
To make it worse, it's double when you make him your captain.
You go.
And I've got the C next to his name. I can't believe it. I'm shattered. Oh, boy. How did he put that down?
There's a dolly.
He can catch them when they come down from the clouds with players raining down on top of him as well.
I want you to get off.
And he puts that down. Unbelievable.
Leave the ball,
The
leave the
Knights give
ball.
away a penalty here.
Sideline.
9-4 the penalty count against the Roosters here tonight. Well, there might have been a couple of tough ones. They've been their own worst enemies once again this evening.
Use the line, use the line.
A little bit of work there. And, well, certainly Rogers coming over the top of Cooper Richards. That was always going to be a penalty. O'Mealy. We're playing for Jake Friend. The Roosters get perhaps one last chance here before stumps. Their sole try tonight. 90-metre job scored by Jordan Tansey off a Newcastle bomb at the other end of the field early in the second half. Pearce through a ball almost intercepted there by Vuna. Picked up by the try scorer Tansey. He'll play it here for Kenny Dow. Pearce it is. Steps inside the advancing Richie Fao. So he goes over the top to Nuasala. They're fanned out to the left-hand side. Boy, gives a pass there. They surely score, you'd imagine. Here's O'Mealy. Got the short ball there from Jake Friend. He bounced off the tackle of Matt Hilda, who came again to wrap him up. They come to the short side. Here's Paya. His little ball there for Cooper Richards. He'll be stopped about 5 metres out. Friend goes deep for Anasta. He goes wide for Pearce. Cut out ball again. Oh, he gives Vuna another chance. Now he stops and stepped inside Cecil Wanga. Gave it off for Jared Mullen. He'll be grabbed from behind, about 38 metres out. I think he wanted to prove the point there, Mitchell Pearce, to see if Vuna could actually catch it. Here's Gidley running to the left-hand side. He gives it to Junior Sal. I've got him as well, but he's stopped by Mason. 9 metres out from the Roosters line. Willie gives away a penalty. I think he says, let's call it off. They can't lose it. We can't win it. And time's just about up. They'll go for one more. Here's Mullen. He gives it off to Caruana. You know the game's a foregone conclusion when you're talking about your fantasy team, don't you? De Gois goes to Gidley. He fires an intercept now. What is happening here? Sean Kenny Dow.
Come on,
gives it off to Cecil Wanga. How quick is he? He fends off Matt Hilda. Does it again. He stops. And Hilda falls on top of him. Somebody ring the bell. Pearce from dummy half. Last play of the game. Friend. He takes it towards them. He's wrapped up there by Fao, so they'll get one more play. Cooper Richards. Tip and a chase. Why not? Rogers going backwards. Knocks it towards Kurt Gidley. Kick it out of play, Kurt. End the pain. And he comes forward and they say, that'll do it. And the Knights have beaten the Roosters in an absolute canter here this evening. 38 points to 6. Brian Smith says, well done, boys. They got the job done comfortably here tonight. And they make it yet another 2 points to their tally. They are flying high, the Knights. Unfortunately, the Roosters, well, not in the wooden spoon position. It's only the Sharks propping them up at the moment off the bottom of the table. But they are in all sorts of trouble, the Knights, though.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League Partnership.